aspects of what you might envy in Barack Obama. He's a cool guy. Exactly. I mean, cool in a Sinatra way, in a positive Sinatra way, unlike Trump, which is the bad Sinatra.
Yeah, and you're the stupid Sinatra. So here was an example of the new school being schooled by the old school. An old world dude faced off with the modern grievance movement, and the movement moved on. Reminds me of a movie.
In a world where the border is wall-less and the boundary is lawless, they sent a caravan, and he sent an army.
We're going to be guarding our border with the military.
It's a small step for man.
It's a big step.
Sorry, it's a big step. When federal law was left unenforced and Democrats kicked the can down the road, or is it the ball down the field? Either way, one man said, "Nah, bro, not in my country." Nude man on a unicorn baking a cake while reciting Shakespeare backwards films presents Donald Trump, Enrique Peña Nieto, and Ric Flair as the Nature Boy. Executive Action 11, Order at the Border.
All right. Now, there's another reason why the caravan failed. Society. Society's biggest beef is always line cutting, which is predicated on fairness. If you're not in dire need, then you wait in line like everyone else. The many, many thousands of people here in my studio audience right now, they waited in line. Yeah, the thousands waited in line, but it seems we've forgotten why. So here's a primer even kids will understand.
Line cutting. Why is it bad? Well, first you should know that lines are as American as the Revolutionary War. Back then, linear infantry formations would have to wait their rightful turn before shooting each other with muskets. In fact, 4 out of 5 scientists agree, without lines, we never would have won our independence. Fast forward to today and you can see lines everywhere. For iPhones, at ball games, on Gordon Ramsay's forehead, and there's even a line to get into this country. The only place you won't see lines are at Maroon 5 concerts. But when lines are long, some people like to cut the whole thing, leaving those people who follow the rules out in the cold. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Unless, of course, you're in a place that says rules don't matter and you're given sanctuary. But that's a video for another time. And that is why line cutting is bad.
So, was the news that Trump's not a target a plus for Trump and a setback for his foes at CNN? We stopped by their offices for comment. So, where is the impeachment caravan now? Heading into another wall. No surprise. I mean, have they even thought this thing through? Seriously, what happens if the impeachment imps get exactly what they want? What do they end up with? That's your plan? I love that plan. Replace a centrist Republican with a guy who's so right-wing he makes Genghis Khan look like Grandpa Walton. But the left never has a plan, always seeking to replace things that work, a free market, a border, a president, with crap. Communism, socialism, identity politics, patchouli, tofu. No wonder everything they touch ends in suffering. If history was our guide, we'd build a wall around them. But last and never least, there's this. A former First Lady compares Donald Trump to being a bad parent.
The 8 years that Barack was president, it was sort of like having the good parent at home, the one that told you to eat your carrots and go to bed on time. And now perhaps we have the other parent. Maybe it feels fun to some for now because we can eat candy all day and, you know, stay up late and not follow the rules.
That wasn't a bad metaphor, except for the last line. It feels fun for now because we can eat candy all day. So what's the candy? Is it more jobs, less ISIS, progress with North Korea, Gorsuch, tax cuts? Because if that's the candy, what does that make Donald Trump?
The candy man, the candy, cause he mixes it with love to make the world taste good. Candy man, candy man, candy man.
So, Buck, I have to hand it to Donald Trump on this because this was a yearly political stunt by an activist group to raise awareness about asylum seekers and so forth. And it's been done before, but he repurposed it for his law and order perspective, and it seems like it worked. I don't know.
We also have more data now about what ends up happening, by the way. You have a lot of 25-year-olds showing up at the border saying they're 17. And
yes.
That's just now been established.
I've been tricked by them, by the way. They tell me they're 25.
So,
anyway.
So there's a lot of that happens. And also, what I think people started to recognize this week is that they're actually not illegals.
Yeah.
They were going through, this is a caravan going through a mountain-sized loophole. This was an enormous loophole where they literally show up to Border Patrol and they say, here we are. Can you put us on those buses and send us to the places where you give the people the free place to stay and the food and tell me to show up in immigration court in about 5 years?
Yes.
We'll see how that goes.
No, it's a good point. Joe, I think this was poor planning on their part. Here you have a president who's so old world, all law and order, and they go, let's just send 1,000 people to the border. He won't do anything.
Yeah, caravan's a terrible way to sneak into a country unless it's a Dodge Caravan. I've said that a million times, and I'll say it again. But I'll tell you what, they were upset that about the presidential election in Honduras. Well, I don't think that they're going to like the president here because Trump probably wouldn't have done well in that election.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Kat, I kind of think what bums me out about the caravan, it's actually an important issue, people trying to get out of bad countries. But how can just being a citizen of a country make you an asylum seeker? There's got to be like war and pestilence and hell, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Thank you. All right. Guess that wasn't much of a question. Was it?
No, look, I think that the one issue I had with this is Trump said this represented like a massive influx of illegal immigrants, when really Border Patrol agents have said this is pretty typical of what they see every day. Yeah. And also, border crossings have dropped dramatically. There's not this new massive influx. And I do think that Trump deserves credit for that. I don't think he's giving himself enough credit. They've dropped dramatically. So there's not this new massive wave. They're way down. Yeah. But it's I think it's because he's a metaphorical wall. I mean, like if somebody who just gets elected says you're not allowed to come here, it's going to send people back, right, Tyrus? Or?
Yeah, I think it was interesting because we live in a world now where no one's ever really beaten or loses an argument, and they were pretty much told you're not coming to America. So they're like, beautiful Tijuana. We are now going to beautiful Tijuana, ladies and gentlemen. Tijuana, where everyone gets a fresh start, you know? Yes. Man, it's amazing over there. It's kind of like America, just drunker. Yes. It's going to be great. So
Tijuana
they just
where your life
move
ends.
that. This journey, it'll get Morgan Freeman, the narrator, now in Tijuana, where they find their new life. So they didn't really lose. They can't give it, you know, he sent the National Guard, and they're like, maybe they're going to do clerical work. Nah, bro, they're not clericing nothing. They're clicking and clacking and making sure you're not crossing. Yeah. But, yeah, that was the whole thing today, is they changed the narrative to where it was just a symbolic. Right. Except they didn't tell the people on the buses who packed everything they possibly could and underneath the bus, and they didn't tell them that it was just it's just a little thing they're going to show off, and then everyone's going to go back to Honduras. Yeah. No, they're stuck in Tijuana now, and there's not a lot of jobs out there. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs, but they're not jobs that you want. Apparently, I would not do that. All right, so what's final questions? If nothing seems to be working, Buck, when they're going, if collusion doesn't work and Stormy doesn't work and infidelity doesn't work, collusion, dementia, what should the left do now?
To win the midterm election?
Yes.
Just not be crazy. But they can't manage to do that.
Yes.
No, I really mean that. Like, if they actually focus, they know what the answer is here because of what happened in Pennsylvania with Connor Lamb. If they talk about issues that actually matter to the American electorate, they have a chance of winning some of those toss-up races that right now are actually trending a little bit Democrat. But if they do what you're talking about, you cannot turn on CNN without seeing either Vladimir Putin's face or Stormy Daniels.
Yes.
That has become the network mantra right now.
They got to put them together.
Stormy Putin?
Stormy Putin. That sounds that sounds like a medical disorder. Joe, final thoughts on how things are going in general?
Maybe we could get Katy Perry out there on the campaign trail earlier this year.
Yes. Yes. She really helped, don't you think?
from some people's perspective.
Yes, mainly not hers. All right, coming up. Should she be ashamed of all the people she's blamed? Hillary keeps talking, and I keep talking about her. I'm running out of rhymes to cover her whines. Speaking at a women's club, they have them here in New York City this week. Hillary Clinton talked about fun things like picnics and ice cream and puppies. I'm kidding. You know what she talked about.
Fox News is always trying to impeach me. So somebody needs to tell them. No private citizen.
Yep, she's not stopping. And why should we? Fox wants to impeach me is like Trump saying build the wall. It's her stairway to heaven. Or I shouldn't say stairway because she'll trip. That was funny. She trips a lot, okay? It's human. It means she's human, actually. If you're a fan, you love hearing her stuff. If you're not a fan, you love hating it. She's like a laxative in the water supply. She gets the whole crowd going. She has a... Thank you. Everybody loves a good diarrhea joke. All right, she has so many classic riffs. In fact, after all these years, Hillary's built up enough material to compile a greatest hits album.
Now, for the first time ever, it's Hillary's Greatest Hits. 4 decades of all your favorites on one easy listening disc. Stroll down memory lane with these timeless classics. This is all part of a vast right-wing conspiracy. I'm not some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. And of course,
you could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Hillary's Greatest Hits. These golden oldies are sure to warm your heart. We're going to put a lot of coal miners out of business. It was a mistake for me to use personal email. Plus,
what difference at this point does it make?
And who can forget her runaway hit, Normal Human Laughter? Hillary's Greatest Hits. Where were you when you first heard these gems? Long Walks in the Woods, My Share of Chardonnay. No one ever said that to a man, and everyone's favorite.
Why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
Plus, you'll get the bonus track, Arf Arf You Know. And if you act now, you'll also get You're to Blame for just a penny more. Every person, place, or thing Hillary says cost her the election. The whole back catalog is here in this 25-disc set. Enjoy favorites like Russia, Bernie Sanders, women whose husbands told them to vote for Trump, WikiLeaks, low information voters, James Comey, and so much more. 2 great collections. Get yours today. Available at Kmart.
Joe, what do you make of her performances so far? What do you think of this?
Well, she said that misogyny had a lot to do with the election, and that might be true. She said that a lot of women, politically, they just do what their husbands tell them to do. So maybe people didn't vote for her because she just was running because Bill Clinton told her to. Took a while to get to that.
Tyrus, she's getting cockier.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So she gets the Sunday spot?
Yeah. Wait, you could co-host.
No. Oh, another co-host spot. Great. I get another chair, maybe? Maybe hers will vibrate. Come with earphones. You said I got the Sunday thing.
I think
just like that.
Yeah, no.
It's because I'm not a woman?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's because I'm black.
You got me again.
Hillary, I'm the guy that's gonna lose to her. Me, first guy in history to lose it, man.
No, you can. She can.
I gotta carry that on my back for the rest of my days. Who beat you out for the spot? Hillary, what?
You guys would have great chemistry. You'd be like Hoda and Kathy Lee.
I don't know who the hell Hoda is, but I'm not being Kathy Lee.
Yeah, you can be.
Just like that, Sunday at 8.
All right.
Hillary in capital letters and Tyrus.
Buck, let's move away from Tyrus getting angrier and angrier at me, and let's talk about how we've never after an election have we ever had somebody like a trash talking, making the rounds and blaming everyone. This is a first.
Well, it's a lot of people from the previous administration who weren't even necessarily people you'd think of that are political. it's actually kind of weird. You see former CIA directors out there now just trashing the current president and even implying that he maybe knows some things about the president that would change the way we all think of him. Can't show us the evidence of that. And you have obviously Hillary still very bitter about the loss. You have Michelle Obama, as we just played, criticizing him. This is new, and I think it's really destructive. But I would note that Hillary is now going at a cut rate. So those of you who want her for like birthdays, bar mitzvahs, anything above, she goes for 25 G's now, which in Hillary land is a massive discount. And I wonder why. This is true, by the way. She gave a speech recently for $25K. Her going rate used to be $250,000 minimum. Why are her speeches just not so charming and wonderful anymore? What happened?
I guess because she keeps saying the same damn thing. I love her, and I mean that sincerely. You know, with a TV show is a lot like a house when there's like all of a sudden you find a hole that you have to fill, and like a B block. What are we going to do in a B block? It's been a slow week. She's Spackle. Like, okay, like we can use Hillary will say something, and we can use her to fill an empty space in a show. I call it Hillary Spackle. Look at you guys. I can tell you're excited.
Time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon.
Again, it just keeps happening.
In this case, it's Kim Jong-un holding that football. And President Trump, not Charlie Brown, left swinging in the air.
Many times before.
As it has happened so many times before.
Thank you for explaining that, you idiots. So this silly audio puzzle may be the greatest metaphor for media bias ever. Think about this. When Trump says something, what do you hear? A joke. But the media, they hear racism. And when you hear Trump describe MS-13 as animals, what did the media hear?
The President of the United States saying these are not people, they are animals. It is a disgusting way to talk about human beings.
He does things like call immigrants animals.
He was just talking about MS-13. Good enough?
No, not good enough. It is a very slippery slope when you start dehumanizing people this way. It's what the Nazis did.
But she is the model of civility.
You know how to spell hypocrisy? Or should I spell it out for you? Back off, you creep. I'll use the line.
Please don't do this. It really annoys me. I'm so through with your mansplaining, and you're smirking and you're laughing. I'm not in the mood for this day. Oh, happy day. I've made my point.
No, hold on. I think I just realized the MS in MS-13 stands for misunderstood. Keep talking. I wanted to keep talking because if this is the direction the Democrats want to go, just re-elect Trump now. You're becoming the cartoon we always thought you were. But at least the media is coming to grips with their own delusions.
I do think that we have to acknowledge that there is so much more happening in the world than Donald Trump. And we in the media are essentially all Trump all the time. Let me express my own addiction as well. You know, my wife and I, we find ourselves, our pillow talk is sometimes about Trump.
I am a Trump addict. I think I'm willing to admit that. I think all roads lead to Trump right now.
So yes, he's addicted to Trump. But the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. And now there's a place to kick the habit.
You've heard about it in the media.
We have to acknowledge that there is so much more happening in the world than Donald Trump.
But the first step to healing is admitting it.
I am a Trump addict.
Before it's too late.
My wife and I, we find ourselves, our pillow talk is sometimes about Trump. But
terrible.
That's right. It is terrible. But now there's hope thanks to the Brian Stelter Institute for the Trump Addicted. We understand the need for a safe space to talk about your unhealthy obsession with the president.
I stay up all night waiting to see what Trump's going to tweet next. I haven't slept in 483 days.
I see. Mr. Gennaro, what about you?
You know, I watch these Trump rallies on TV. It just seems like the more fun they have, the angrier I get, you know. I just get upset.
Well, the good news is this is not a real medical condition, so you can grow a pair and get on with your lives. Feel better now?
A little bit. I do. Yeah. I do.
The Brian Stelter Institute for the Trump Addicted, so you can stop whining forever.
All right. And so, like every other week, the media chases words and overlooks deeds. But I get it. It's frustrating. They've been obsessing over Russian collusion, and it seems to be shrinking away. You know what the collusion story really is for the media? It's like the press bought a roast chicken on a Sunday, and by Tuesday, they're down to nothing but bones and gristle. True, the roast chicken of collusion is bare. If only the media had a roast chicken collusion regenerator.
Hey, Tom, you're on in 5 minutes.
I know. But my Russia collusion chicken, look, it's almost gone. How am I going to talk about Russia without my delicious rotisserie chicken of Russian collusion?
You mean you don't know about the roast chicken collusion regenerator?
No, tell me more.
It's right over there.
How's it work?
The roast chicken collusion regenerator uses hysteria convection technology to regrow your collusion chicken, ensuring there's always fresh meat to the story. It even comes in a compact desk unit for companies that rely on Russian collusion chicken for their day-to-day business.
Here we go, 30 seconds.
Whoa, that is some fresh collusion chicken.
Well, you know what they say. Give a man a roast chicken, he'll collude for a day. Give him a collusion chicken regenerator, he'll collude for a lifetime.
We'll be able to pick at this forever. Thanks, Collusion Chicken Regenerator.
Order now and we'll throw in a free Stormy Daniels spatula. No matter what the news picks up, you can always flip it to Stormy.
You've been traveling the country. I haven't seen you for months. You're not even watching any news.
Yeah.
I'm sure you don't even know what I'm talking about, the Laurel, whatever. What do you take about the gulf between the media and the public you've just seen?
Okay. In late February, I left on an 8-week road trip across the South and Southwest. I determined that I would watch no news, not go on the internet, and not listen to the radio. The last words I heard before leaving were Stormy Daniels and Robert Mueller.
Yeah.
8 weeks away, I turned back on the radio. The first words I heard were Robert Mueller and Stormy Daniels. I call myself Trump Van Winkle. Apparently, except for aging slightly, America is doing exactly the same thing every day, which is obsessing about non-stories while North Korea denuclearizes, the Iran deal gets ripped up. There's not just some news out there.
Yeah.
There's like the biggest news of our lifetime.
Yes. Don't go away anymore.
The man who wrote these memos is our guest tonight. I'm very much looking forward to asking him about that and everything else under the sun.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't know enough. Yeah, I can't answer that. I mean, I could, but I can't. I don't know whether I can answer that, Rachel. I don't think I can answer that as I sit here.
Let me ask you a related question that I also don't know if you can answer.
Come on, he's got to know something.
I'm not permitted to answer that. I have no personal knowledge of that. I don't know anything about that, and if I did, I wouldn't say.
I'm going to ask you more questions that you can answer.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I had no idea, and I didn't know. I don't know for sure. I can't recall. That's another one I can't answer.
Guess he doesn't know. All right. Comey, Stormy, two peas in a pod. One had a book, another had a sketch. And they tried to outdo each other in a game of publicity ping pong.
I thought, honestly, that he was, sort of handsome.
You realize I'm actually kind of an honest idiot?
I have, bodyguards, and you don't even want to know their food bill.
I think I'm a good person where I've lied.
My baby had a blowout in her diaper.
During the salad, before the shrimp scampi.
I'm a better actress than he is.
There might be green men out there.
Women like me matter.
I don't want to be too tough on myself.
I'm done being bullied.
It sucked.
Take that. Yes. Jim Comey. Maybe you heard of the guy? We're going to talk about him some more next. We're 1 week into the Comey show, and it only seems like a year. But what revelations. One, Comey's never seen Trump laugh. He told that to Stephanopoulos during their 5-hour chat. Hard to believe they left that part out of the special. And they kept this part. Comey drinks Pinot Noir out of a paper cup.
I drank red wine from a paper coffee cup and just looked out at the lights of the country I love so much as we flew home.
It was like the narration of Sex and the City. Now, we also learned that Comey thinks Trump is obsessed with him.
I'm like a breakup he can't get over. I'm out there living my best life. He wakes up in the morning and tweets at me.
Yes, he's living his best life, drinking Pinot Noir out of a paper cup, looking out the window, wondering why Trump won't laugh. You know, he's like the ex who keeps telling you how great things are since you left him while he sits in his underpants eating Chef Boyardee from a can. I don't know what that's like. Republicans, Democrats, nobody considers Comey their homie, and he's all aloney. Reminds me of a movie.
In 2016, there was a guy named James, and most of America got tired of his games. He was the Republican sensation when he put Hillary under investigation.
There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
Years later, when the nation felt divided as ever, he returned just to make everyone hate him together.
Felt like I was totally alone, that everybody hated me.
FBI Director James Comey has just been fired by Donald Trump.
It's the adventure of a disgraced FBI director whose tell-all book paints the president as a crook.
Is the Trump campaign in any way working directly with the Russians?
And that's just the beginning, because his story keeps the media grinning.
Thank you for timing this whole thing so that the memos came out right before you sat down.
I have no idea.
From the directors of Dumb and Stelter comes a new political charade starring James Comey, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and David Spade. Home Alone, this summer, the hate is on.
Mr. Florentine, what do you make of this man and his book tour and all the things he says?
First of all, can he do any more fluff interviews?
Yes.
Next week, we're going to see him dancing with Ellen. And he's way more obsessed with Trump. I mean, look what he wrote in his book.
Yes.
His skin was bright, slightly orange. His hair was bright blonde. When I reached for his hand, I looked at his hand. Mine was bigger than his. His was small, but not that small. It's like a gay romance novel.
It is. Not that I've read those, but you're right. You're right. Tyrus, has he worn out his welcome?
He never was welcome.
Yeah.
The sides, the Democratic Party are at each other so much. Even a guy they hate, if he will say something that they think will help him, they'll bring him in. But it's early. After he gets done doing the cooking shows and he does Sesame Street, by that time the Democrats will be sick of him.
Yeah.
So he'll literally get cussed out by Big Bird on TV. Like that's where he's headed. Like, you know, like him and Oscar the Grouch will be in the same trash can together. It's going to be.
That would be great. You know, Mark, I'm older than everybody here. I seem to remember like there would be people that would be on every talk show, like Dr. Ruth.
Right.
He's now like Dr. Ruth without the charm.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'd forgotten that bit you mentioned, where the drinking Pinot Noir out of the paper cup. And the book is all like that. It's like this banal, third-rate, pathetic sludge.
Yes.
He's flying home in a private jet. Well, that's the first thing. The FBI director shouldn't have a private jet. He gets on the plane. He opens his suitcase. He says he's got a bottle of California Pinot Noir in his suitcase. Why would you do that when you're... Why would you fly a bottle of ordinary California Pinot Noir that's available in Washington for like $6? Why would you fly that all the way from California? And then he says, and I drank it out of a paper coffee cup. Okay, you're on a private you've got a private jet for you. It doesn't have any wine, so you have to pack the wine in a suitcase. And then you have like a used paper coffee cup from when you were in Starbucks earlier that morning. And I don't believe anything he said. Now, and I know, and this is what writing is. Like in normal life, I'll go, I ran into Greg and told him I'd just seen Tyrus. And if you're writing a book, this is an important tip if you want to make $1 million like Comey. You can't just say, hey, I ran into Greg and told him I'd seen Tyrus. You've got to go, I ran into Greg Gutfeld. An intriguingly contemptuous sneer teased his lips for a moment before curdling into a marginally less intriguingly contemptuous sneer. I told him I'd seen Tyrus, whose muscled forearms rippled in the California twilight. Tyrus's forearms, that is, not Greg's. And people think that's writing. And the whole Comey book is like that.
Yeah, no, it is. And also, how adorable. A message from the famous parkour athlete, Jesse LaFleur. Maybe you've seen him on American Ninja Warrior, or maybe you haven't. Either way, give him $40 and you got yourself a celebrity greeting. So my staff pulled together their money and asked Jesse to make one for me.
What up, Greg? My name is Jesse LaFleur. I'm a professional parkour athlete and freerunner. I just wanted to wish you a happy 23rd birthday. And I was going to get you a pair of my LaFleur signature model shoes, but they're not out yet. And let's be honest, they're not going to fit you anyway. But I did get you something. Check this out. It's a t-shirt. I know you're going to love it. It's definitely going to fit because I got it from the Baby Gap. So I'll send it your way soon. Happy birthday, buddy. Peace.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
Raise your hand if you picked, what's his name? Alex Vanderswan as the next person who would be criminally charged in the Robert Mueller special counsel investigation bingo game. Did you have a square marked Alex Vanderswan? Alex Vanderswan. Alex Vanderswan? Alex Vanderswan. Alex Vanderswan was really not on anybody's bingo card. Alex Vanderswan, who nobody had ever heard of before today.
Alex Vanderswan. So now I want a military parade. I didn't want one before. I never wanted one, but now I want one. And you know what? I think we have the commercial.
Are you ready for a celebration of the greatest fighting force of all time? It's the All-American Military Parade Extravaganza. The Anile Celebration Palooza Apocalypse Sea-Bomb. The ultimate salute to the badasses of the American military. Featuring the back-to-back World War champs. This isn't your grandmother's military parade. It starts here and ends here. 6 days of non-stop awesomeness. No celebrities, no halftime, no bathrooms, no prisoners. Starring all the latest military might. Rockets made of smaller rockets, which are made of smaller rockets. A nuclear electric guitar that plays solos while blowing up evil tyrants' porta potties. The latest in invincible but invisible tanks. What, you can't see them? That's the point. And the most advanced prototype ever created, a fighter jet made of deadly piranha fish. Plus, don't miss the parade's Grand Marshal, the ghost of General Custer. So this November, get your butt to D.C. It's the All-American Military Parade Extravaganza!
Now wait. I realize this could be deeply offensive to some people. So we also came up with an alternative event for those who find a military parade too unsettling.
Are you offended by a parade honoring the military? Does a display of our military strength cause you deep emotional pain? Then maybe you should attend the Parade for Wimps. It's the only celebration guaranteed not to upset anyone. Featuring a giant wall of hydrangeas. Unless you're allergic, then forget about it. And designated safe spaces on every corner. Held in every sanctuary city across the country. Plus, the first 1,000 people in attendance get a free comfort peacock. The Parade for Wimps is sponsored by the Spoken Word Poet Society, the Man Bun Brigade, and the Association of Grown-Ass Men Who Prefer Flavored Coffee. The Parade for Wimps. It's for wimps. Be there. Unless you can't make it, then be sure to sign our petition banning gender-specific pronouns.
Some airlines are enacting stricter rules for customers who want to bring their animals along for emotional support, like peacocks. So yeah, party's over. Peacocks and kangaroos. It's not fair to people who legitimately need service animals. People can't be gaming the system like this. Take a look at this ad I saw the other day.
It could happen to anyone. You have no physical or emotional problems and no medically diagnosed condition whatsoever. In fact, you're perfectly healthy. You just don't like people and you're a pain in the ass. Then you need Support Scorpion. It's the only support animal guaranteed to be permitted everywhere because no one will have the guts to tell you otherwise.
I hate crowds, especially at the airport, and flying is the worst. But with my Support Scorpion, people barely come within 10 feet of me.
That's because the key to Support Scorpion is its deadly venom. Just one sting and that talkative guy from business class will take a long nap all the way to your destination.
My wife and I had stopped going to the movies altogether. We just couldn't stand the crowd at the theaters. Now, it's like our own private screening.
I'm out.
Thanks, Support Scorpion.
And every Support Scorpion comes with an official support vest, so people know he's legit.
Hi, 2 for dinner?
I'm sorry, ma'am. You can't. Oh, excuse me. What a lovely scorpion. Right this way.
Thanks. His name's Jeremy.
So don't let silly laws prevent you from bringing your non-traditional support animal everywhere you go. Order Support Scorpion today. And if you call within the next 20 minutes, we'll throw in a free Comfort Cobra.
But this guy Kalimnik keeps turning up again and again. Konstantin Kalimnik, he's still Russian military intelligence. Kalimnik, a short man who goes by Kostya, this guy Konstantin Kalimnik. Konstantin Kalimnik, investigating Konstantin Kalimnik for espionage. This guy Konstantin Kalimnik is the key that unlocks that door. It seems like it would have to be.
So why does he have to be short? New York Times, get this, they ran an article this week titled, "Happy 200th Birthday, Karl Marx. You were right." Too bad he can't read it, he's dead. But what a strange thing to say. I guess the tribute to John Wilkes Booth wasn't ready yet. And where is the Lizzie Borden centerfold? But as the writer glorifies the dead commie, we here don't believe the Times went far enough. So we created a real salute.
Happy birthday, Karl Marx. You co-wrote the Communist Manifesto, which is right up there with the Unabombers for the best manifesto of all time. Its basic tenet that capitalism leads to class oppression and will eventually be superseded by a socialist order. Sweet! In fact, it was such an awesome idea that a bunch of countries tried it, like Lenin's Soviet Union, featuring mass imprisonment, Mao Zedong's China, with widespread famine, Castro's Cuba, featuring animal-powered farm equipment, and Maduro's Venezuela, toilet paper lines for days, plus a bunch of other countries that don't exist anymore, like East Germany, Yugoslavia, and Czechoslovakia. Talk about a most excellent run. And there's even communist nations still around today, like North Korea, but they won't admit it because it's so successful they don't want to rub it in the rest of the world's faces. So here's to you, Karl Marx. Happy 200th birthday, bro.
So as the world enters an optimistic age, the media still chases words and not deeds. The latest freak out, what Trump said about what Giuliani said about, you guessed it, Stormy.
It was staggering. We keep saying that.
And it's very confusing. I've never seen anything like it.
It is astonishing.
I think this is disgraceful.
It's astonishing.
It's stunning. Just stunning.
That was a disaster.
Other members of the legal team are, and this is not actually a legal term, freaking out.
Hush, hush, sweet Stormy.
What's wrong with these people? You know what they're like? They're like kids who ate all of their Halloween candy in one night. They're just overloaded. They're going to end up with a DTO, which is a Donald Trump overdose. But they can't stop. CNN has had Stormy's lawyer on 60 times in 3 months. He gets more airtime than pollen.
I think it probably will be hard to prove, Anderson. You got to stop interrupting me. The cover-up is really the con. Whoever the attorney is that wrote those 2 tweets is an absolute moron. There's no doubt that he's going to flip. You can try to put lipstick on the pig morning, noon, and night, and it's still going to be a pig, Don. I was stunned. I was speechless. I'm still stunned this morning.
Every day, he's speechless, which is weird because he never shuts up. How is that possible? But fair play to him. He's got CNN in his back pocket, and he won't stop farting.